This is Jonathan Hurst with my persuasive speech. Here's my speaking outline. Every year, 7.3 million dogs and cats enter U.S. animal shelters, and fewer than half of them, only 3.6 million, are adopted, according to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. When you make the decision to adopt a dog or cat, you are giving them a chance at a new life, a life they would never have in their prior situation or in the shelter. Especially since when they're in the shelter for too long and they extend their stay for too long, the shelter is given no choice but to ultimately euthanize that animal and put them down due to the constraint of resources. Speaking as someone who has recently adopted a dog into their life and has done plenty of research on the subject, I feel as if I'm well versed in the field of adoption and the benefits of it. When you make the decision to adopt a dog, you are saving a life of an innocent animal who has done nothing wrong to deserve the life they've been given, and on top of that, it's also significantly cheaper than going through a breeder, as many times adoption facilities will even go through specials where they waive the adoption fees in order to encourage people to adopt. And on top of that, everyone else is in a unique situation and no one has the same circumstances. Through a shelter, you can get a dog that's more uniquely suited to your needs and situations based on where you are in your life. A lot of these poor animals have known nothing but lives of neglect and possibly abuse. And then they're being sent to a shelter where they are being cared for by very compassionate people, but there's still the undeniable fact that they are living their lives in a chain link fence cage and sleeping on the concrete every night. These animals are in desperate need of help from adopters, and while the volunteers are doing everything they can to make sure their stays are as temporary, comfortable, and safe as possible, there's only so much they can do as they have limited resources. And I also understand that everyone's in a different place in their life, and not everyone is financially or in terms of time able to take into a puppy into their life. Well, through a shelter, there are a lot of older dogs in more unique situations that can fit you. Say you're in college and you're living in an apartment and you're busy with your classes and extracurriculars and your job, and you don't really have time for a puppy. You could get an older dog, because a lot of the older animals are already housebroken and trained well, and teaching them where to use the restroom is one of the most tedious parts of adopting an animal. And also, these older dog and cats are more at risk of going unadopted, which means they're more likely to be euthanized, despite the fact that they are just as fun and caring and unconditionally loving as all the other dogs and puppies. And honestly, regardless of the age, if they manage to stay too long in the shelter, they all meet the same fate. Whether they're 11 years old or 2 years old, they will be euthanized if they don't get adopted within a certain amount of time, which varies from shelter to shelter. According to the No-Kill Advocacy Organization, 1.5 million dogs and cats are put down every year due to lack of adoption. If you find yourself financially able and willing and with the time to support a dog or cat in your life, please consider adopting one of the sweet animals in a shelter nearest you. A lot of people who adopt a dog or cat find that they derive a lot of happiness from that new addition to their lives. And it's not just a pet that's like, get a new chance and they're all happy. A lot of people find that they're even happier than their pet from adopting them. For my family specifically, adopting has not been regretted at all, as we recently adopted a little girl, a 4-year-old retriever, Sam, and she is absolutely wonderful, and we've had zero problems with her, and she is just as loving and caring as any other dog. If someone wants to buy a purebred dog for show, then that is fine. But there are a lot of misconceptions about shelter dogs and rescue dogs, largely surrounding their demeanor. My dog Sam, for example, was found in an alley when severely malnourished, nursing 9 puppies that she had no less than 2 weeks ago, as the officials said, or no more than 2 weeks ago, as the officials said. And she also hadn't had anything other than trash to eat for a long time, and she had heartworms and mites. But after a brief run of medication and some balanced eating, you would never be able to tell that she lived that life before, as she is playful and loving and gentle with everyone. I'm sure, well, maybe not anymore given the current situation, you've seen a lot of dogs and cats on land is people playing with their owners, and you felt yourself leaning to getting one. But you should understand there's a lot of financial responsibility that comes along with it, as there are a lot of monthly like recurring fees such as food. You're gonna have to buy food every 2 weeks or so. But once you've weighed the financial burden, the benefits are far outweighed with unconditional love and support from the animal. Currently, Leon County has over 160 animals that are ready for adoption and don't have a home yet, as of the end of October, according to their website. Adopting over shopping is the key when you bring a new pet into your life, and adoption is not something that you should take lightly. Once you've fully thought through the process, the benefits are immeasurable. And you are saving a life for a significantly cheaper price than what you would pay for a breeder, and you can get a dog that fits you rather than just a puppy that you may or may not be able to fully take care of. If you're feeling yourself compelled to go to adoption, I would highly encourage you to go by a shelter and see if you make a connection with any of the sweet animals there, because many of the people who adopt a dog or cat say that rather than they saving the pet actually saves them. And here's my outline again.